Hello, Rick27 and welcome back to the Civil War, Grand Tactician, the Civil War I should say, in what will be episode 2. So obviously apologies of a slight gap between the first and second episodes. When I came back from my work trip I was full of cold, so I'm recording this slightly later than planned. But c'est la vie. And before we get into things, there's a little bit of kind of good news, bad news, good news, bad news, bad news, I think. Let's run through it. So first off, thanks to everyone who came in and requested some avatars. So I suppose that's first good news. So we've got a few of in here. We've got Cass, we've got Mark, Philip, and on his suggestions, I also added a couple of the Native American kind of key players. So we've got Stan Watty and Tandy Walker. So there's a cool little feature where you can save a PNG file in the avatar folder, and then you can use that for their picture. So these are actual pictures of these fine gentlemen, and that's even his right date of birth as well. So a little bit of Wikipedia exploring there. And then we've got Zane, and so I don't know, half a dozen or so fine volunteers. So appreciate that. It was good news. However, as pointed out by Zane, and I did a little bit reading in the interim, the use of the custom-made officers is set at the start of a campaign. So when you start a new campaign, it grabs everyone you've got a tick, and that's it. You cannot add new people, so that was bad news. However, good news. Since we only covered one episode thus far, I just went back and set things up again. You know, we had all we done was create armies. We'd created 2 fleets. We'd done a couple of policies. So I went back and everything is essentially as per it was, but we've now got this collection. So that's good. And then on the slight bad side, it does mean no one else can join us. If you're seeing this video, it means the time to enlist is over. So yeah, apologies about that. But unfortunately, yeah, there's no way to add it in, or at least no simple way that my smooth brain can deal with. So without further ado, let's jump back in. We can confirm everything is where it's at, and then we can hopefully advance time until we hit our first combat. Let's jump into the game. Alright, and here we are. I think it was actually April we ended up last video, so it's slightly further on in time as well. The only subtle difference is in the policy, so I don't get to pick what the Union do. And I think in their first episode they actually had Kansas Industrial and the Transcontinental Railroad was the last policy. For this one they have Indian Wars, which I also believe is the default historic 3, but it was on random because I was trying to get it to be as accurate as possible as it was to the first one. So that changes things up and gives them a little bit more military experience, but that's a pretty minor difference. We have got our flotillas and which we did plan last time. All our armies are roughly the same size, so some slightly different, and we are once again tapped upon men and guns. Now one slight downside is that the officers which have appeared thus far have only been Philip Hughes and Cass Dearest. For the other ones haven't made an appearance. So Mr. Hughes here, I've promoted him to Colonel and given him charge of a division. For some reason it wouldn't let me give him set him in charge of a brigade. I could only make him in charge of a division, but there you go. Hopefully you'll perform well. You have one of the poorer equipped divisions in our army because they've all got muskets, but c'est la vie. And then for just now, although I might change it, down here in the Florida State, we have got Castellanos with a Georgian battery of 24-pound howitzers to hopefully try and flatten that fort, is the general plan. But yeah, if we look in here, our erstwhile, well, myself, Requin, and our native colleagues, or part native colleagues in case of Tandy, have not appeared yet. So I'm hoping we're going to turn up at some point, because I'd hate to have reset the game and for them not to appear. And we'll just have to keep an eye out for our Union foes. Okay, things I want to talk about and why I kind of had paused the game here. Projects. So let's talk about gun production, because that's something I have been learning and reading about. So if you go into our military and we go into our weapons, so we have this auto-managed weapon purchase, but let's take that off, right? We'll try and do this ourselves. It may go badly. For each of these guns, you can then place an order. Very straightforward. It tells you how many you want to do. You can also speak this more, how much it's going to cost, how long it's going to take. Very good, straightforward. It'll also tell you, I think, whether they are produced or imported, in production or imports, and also has this standardization score. And this essentially represents the ability of your native industry to produce this weapon. And the more, at least my understanding thus far, is the more orders you put in, then the higher the standardization level will go. So if you, early on in the war, pick a single type of rifled musket, for example, and you produce that and start pushing more and more orders for that, then your standardization is going to go up, and you're going to get more efficient production of it as things go on. So I've been led to believe. Now, at the minute, we cannot order anything apart from actually maybe one of the cannons, but nope, nothing. So if I go to that one, orders and imports, yeah. Oh no, I knew we could do some cannons. Apparently we can indeed order. I'm not sure. Maybe it looks like, we've got an order being executed. Order being executed. Okay, that is why these can be ordered. The AI has already done these because I had that ticked on. Not a problem. Right, so how do we then get actual more weapons? Because we can't win the war with howitzers alone. Well, that's where the projects come in. And there's a whole bunch of projects down here that will unlock the ability to either produce or import a variety of weapons. So your Lorenzes under Austrians, your Enfields under the British, you've obviously carbines there for the cavalry, cast artillery, down here, the French weapons. What guns are these? I don't know which ones they are. There's the kind of plains rifles and things which are falling under legacy. There's the Prussians, we've got the Dries needle guns, Rebors and muskets, but all the way down. I've lost it. I was going to talk about this one, Springfield rifles. So it's a Springfield rifled musket, I suppose, which we do have some of. We cannot take this because we didn't have the arms agent policy. So this is one way that would influence the game. If we'd taken that policy, then we would be able to kind of domestically produce our own Springfield rifles. But instead, I want to come up to, there should be Confederate rifles somewhere, not the legacy ones. Here we go. Which should unlock the Fayetteville. Yeah, Fayetteville and Richmond rifles. So now we're going to want to put orders for them. So let's go back to our military and we go to our weapons, and hopefully now if I say orders available, it's going to come up with some rifles. He says, hopefully having not done any work on this beforehand. Okay, there we go. So we've now got Richmond carbine and the Fayetteville rifle musket and the Richmond rifle. So this one, I think this is essentially equivalent to the Sharps. Let's go. That one. Give me all of them. Wait, why can I not see? Orders available, that's why. Okay, so if we go down to just the rifled muskets, for example, Sharps. Springfield is what I meant. Sharps is something different entirely. Actually, it's not quite as good. I take that back. So they are 400 yards at 3 rounds a minute. Richmond's slightly long range, slightly lower rate of fire. So it's not equivalent. I stand corrected. Well, I think it was modelled off it. Yep, and then we go up to the Fayetteville, which is actually longer range and the same rate of fire. So these are pretty good. And the... Yeah, so why is this obviously important? We want to equip our troops. But if you compare this to the smoothbores, and this is where the real difference, even the Springfields here, 250 yards, okay, 2.5 minutes, fine. But that's, so you're walking for 150 yards, or even further in some of these, just taking massed volleys before you can even bring yours to bear. So, it takes you, I don't know, say a minute or whatever. That's like 2.5, 3 full volleys of a couple thousand people in your ranks before you've actually brought your guns to bear, which is why, the rifled muskets, especially in these early clashes, really dominate the brigade-on-brigade combat when they're up against the smoothbore rifles, and why we want to get them out of our army as quickly as possible. Okay. So let's place some orders for... probably both of these, actually. Is there anyone I want to focus on? Well, I prefer to get Fayetteville's as they are slightly better, even though they're slightly more expensive. So that would take takes a long time to get any of them, is the only problem. Now it does scale, obviously bigger orders is lower overall. Obviously if we did three versions of 1,000 at 80 days, it's quicker than this, but at the same time that's not that many. But that's 6 months, that's a long time. Essentially we're not going to get these until the start of 62. But I'm tempted to go for it anyway. If we do 10,000 pieces, that's almost a year for that. Let's go for a little one, and we'll hope that increases our standardization. Let's say we'll go 3,000. That's going to be half a year. We'll order those, and we'll do the same for you. Only going to filter a couple of. I mean, we're probably going to have to put a fairly hefty order in after it for something like, I don't know, 10,000 or something. It's a shame you couldn't say, well, look, I want 10,000 of them, but you know, deliver them as quickly as possible. It would seem a bit more IRL, but we'll try that. We'll get our standardization up, and hopefully that will reduce the production time. Beautiful. Fine and dandy. That's all I really wanted to talk about. Although, did we have the Raymond carbine as well? Let's get that on the go. Probably don't need quite as many of these because we don't have as many horses. But let's do this. We'll get that going, and we'll Raymond carbine, Richmond carbine. Get some standardization there as well. Perfect. Cool. Anything else worth mentioning? Probably not our... I can't remember because it was so long ago now, but I did say I was going to build a depot. So once... actually, I found a slight trick in doing it. If you let the initial army that formed here, which is only a few thousand men, get to orange readiness, you can then build a depot. Because you can only build things when they're at orange or higher. And then do mass recruitment. Then at least that can kind of tick away while they're recruiting. So I think what's going to happen, I will now advance time until we get to our first combat, and it's probably going to be one of the Union armies advancing on Harper's Ferry, because it seems to be where they go, or potentially Alexandria. But they tend to make the march before we do, because we're still waiting for ourselves to be ready. So that's the current state of play. So I'll probably put a cut in here and come back when we get ourselves our first Stromage. So we haven't got our first fight yet, but our policy has come up, so we do have to make a decision here. So I thought I would keep mentioning we have got military, militia, King Cotton. We've only got Militia Act 1. We haven't gone for the 2-year contracts yet, but given I've just raised a bunch of people, I'm not rushing towards this because I'm probably not going to raise any more forces for a few months. So then it's do we want to go keep down the King Cotton route? Just where we go. I think we'll go fairly pro trade, see if that kind of helps. But getting the military would also help because that increases the amount of money you can put aside for military policies, which would certainly be nice. But no, let's say we've committed to cotton, so let's go cotton. You'll see how the Union Army has snuck in behind to Winchester. I'm a little bit nervous because apparently he has 17,000 strength already. The army of Shenandoah here has a paper strength of 20,000, but has only mustered 7,851. Oh no, you're now up to 14,000. Okay, slight mismatch in tooltip. Okay, you're up to 14,000, which is good, but I'd rather you were a bit fuller. Who are you waiting on? 2 days, 9 days, okay. 33 and 33 are they being transferred, so at least a couple of days would be quite good, and I'd be a bit more comfortable. Now the army of Shenandoah is of course my poorer equipped army, mainly with sharps. I'm gonna do this whole blooming playthrough. Springfield muskets. Annoying thing is sharps is obviously it's an actual weapon, it's a repeating rifle, which makes things even more complicated and worse. So just even numbers. Not necessarily a fight that's going to go our way. But things we want to do. Right, Florida State Militia is now in good stead, so let's see if we can't make a move on Fort Pickens. You guys can just march there. Now, there's only 100 men in this fort, but 4,000 men is not that much. We've got a bit of guns, and it might be behoove of us to see if there's anything left that we can create flotilla-wise to go and assist. Let's do that. I tend to find ships don't fare particularly well against forts. But we can have a look. Right, let's create a fleet. Let's create a new fleet in, what was it, Mobile? Create a fleet, and who have we got? Okay, there's a whole bunch of schooners. Do you know, it's fine. I don't... It's fine. Let's create a whole... we'll keep a brig. He might be a useful one. Right. Tiny little fleet. Very good. Mobile Bay Squadron. Excellent. You're not ready. Can I give you an order and move when you're ready? No. Alright. We'll have to be... Should have done that beforehand, and then he could have come to assist this siege. Meanwhile... Meanwhile, if this Winchester army stays there, I will quite happily just march on Washington. And I'll take that in a straight up fight. Yeah, you're not up to essentially a full complement of men. Okay, and I believe that's the supply depot here has now been built. Lovely jubbly. The Hampton division is good to go. So your job is going to be to come down and try and take Fort Monroe. And again, we'll probably get the James River Squadron involved in that. There's only 2 ships and 12 guns. Not the greatest. Could well end up losing them, but you can always build some more. And the Western Army, which I want to relocate to... where was it? Memphis. And then we'll probably push on to the river later. We don't really have the men for it, but... an idea of push up to Cairo and St. Louis. St. Louis. Alright. I was attempting to get Beauregard in charge here. He did come in. We've got a crazy number of brigadier generals as just general troop leaders. We've got, you know, Cheatham and Porterfield and Johnson, partly because our officer corps is a bit lacking. I wanted to see... No, apparently he's unavailable. For whatever reason. Yeah, okay. We shall leave them be. I don't want to over-promote people. The officers do perform more poorly if they are over-promoted. It takes some time to get experience. Yeah, good supply. I'm going to let him go green, which is more prepared than I usually am. Our credit rating has slipped a little bit, so we need to keep an eye on that. We did spend quite a lot on ships and men and all that stuff. We've got another siege in the go. Excellent. Let's assist. So let's have a look at the siege menu. What's it saying right now? So there's Fort Monroe garrison. So there's only 160 men. We reckon it's in the Union's favour. We've got just shy of 2,000. 10 guns, it's not that great, and they've got a firepower of 13. So we may well lose this fight. Let's bring you around here to see if you can't assist. And let's have a quick check on... You are now good enough, so you can come over here to assist. And you probably have better odds because you've got a few more men. They've got a few less. It's still fairly Union favour. See how it goes. See if we can't reduce those forts a little bit. But I don't really have any more men to dedicate to clearing them out. So if this fails, then we'll just have to go back again next time. And a bit of valuable experience for the troops. Okay, I'm going to put the shortest of cuts in here. Actually, before we do that, let's... Oh, this could be bad. Yeah, we're about to get snunk here, I think. Jamestown and Pat Henry, we came out the river and we got pounced upon by the Flying Flotilla, which has quite a lot of guns compared to our 6. It's not going to go well. We should get... You don't fight naval combat, we'll get a pop-up about it. There we go. Disaster at Hampton Roads. Third light gun there manoeuvred. Fleet's been intact. The condition of my fleet is alarming. As long as we escape, I should be okay. No, they've disintegrated. So there we go. 2 ships lost. C'est la vie. This is why we're building more. I'll have to get the Hampton Division to do it on their own. Right, we're just about to hit the green here. Perfect. Well, if they're not going to come to us, then we shall go to them. We'll take Washington in the first movement of the war. That's quite unusual. And then I probably want to try and interdict this army. So I suspect they will respond to this move. So I think I'll wait, have the fight, and then I'll bring in the army of Shenandoah. I could bring them both in at the same time and have overwhelming odds, but let's not do that. I don't know why you just camped here. Okay. Apparently you had another army somewhere. Okay, this could be a big fight. So actually 35,000 against 21,000, but this is our much better equipped army. So I'm hopeful we can do a little bit of divide and conquer, and maybe we can get ourselves a win and get ourselves Washington DC. Let us play the battle. Okay, so if you haven't seen this before, I must admit, the intro to battles here is fantastic. I love these beautiful looking paper maps, and the way the reports are presented to you really adds to the kind of feel of the game and is pretty darn good. We are facing the Army of Potomac under command of John C. Fremont with a strength of 0 men and 0 guns. Oh, they may be... Were they like a new formation then? Or is my reports just terrible? Well, it says they got 15,000. That might just be a bug then. Okay, fine. Let's get all excited there, but only facing one of the armies. So you can get some kind of consolidated reports on the strength of the army, and even you can go in and say, hey, okay, well, who's under the Confederacy, under the Union here? Why am I jumping into? Can I not go into the Union? Oh well, I can send it for my own brigades. You can look at all the various people. Well, this is definitely the Union one, Department of Pennsylvania here. It might just be a bug there, it's saying the Confederacy. Anyway, so yeah, we've got 3 divisions, we've got 3 brigades and a cavalry here, and you can go in and look at exactly how many men and all this kind of good stuff. So it's really quite interesting, and you can see the state of the army and supplies and all sorts of interesting information. Okay, how do the battles themselves work? Well, you get these battle maps, which are near the geographical location if they exist. Sometimes they're a bit random. We are obviously in Washington DC, and I don't actually know this map in terms of if that's near where we'd be or not. However, on the map then gets certain key objectives identified. So here we've got Dr. Noble, the left fork, and the right fork. So there's kind of 2 ways to win. One is by holding objectives, and you get some ticking victory points for that. The other one, and the far more common one, is by breaking the enemy's morale and causing them all to run away. But the objectives are good, as that gives the AI a bit of a sense about what it should be either defending or attacking. In terms of controlling your units, let's get off the HQ thing here. And something I quite like about this game, also the zoom in from paper map to 3 works really well, is you can give individual units an order, no problem, with order delay. You can also give divisions an order en masse, and then you can give armies orders en masse. You cannot box select, you cannot multiple select. The only way you can move multiple units is if they are in division together. And I like this because it means that order of battle matters. There's so many games where you can create a nice order of battle, but actually when you get into it, doesn't make a difference. You just box select people and send them on their way or whatever it may be. So it's quite nice, but you got to think about how you organize things, because it actually makes your life a lot easier about moving your soldiers around and how they fight. And all Frost Division liked being in bugle range of their commander and so on and so forth. So you got to think about how you piece your army together. Okay, what shall our general strategy be? Well, where are their reinforcements coming from? Potentially here, potentially here. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on that. I'm tempted, to be honest, to maybe just push along this southern route, although the road goes off the page. So maybe we'll actually just push up to Emory, come along Milk House Fort Road, and then push to either the point here to the point there. What time of day is it? 9:15 in the morning, so there's plenty of time left. Let's deploy in some marching columns though. So we should have a bit of ways to go before we see the enemy. And we're just going to march to the middle. Ah yes, let's start far forward as we can. Hit the play button and then say, hey, can you please march towards this central position? And off they go. And again, you've got the same time dilation, so you can have it in real time. They're all going to get clogged up on the roads. It's going to be a little bit of mayhem. I'm going to grab a cavalry division here, or brigade I should say, regiment even. Stick them on evade so we don't get into too much combat, and then I'd like to put some scouts out in advance just to make sure we're not running into trouble. So let's get you just maybe up to here would be ideal. And we'll get a second one. Here we go. Again, we'll put you on evade, which we'll have to take off when we get to combat, because otherwise they won't hang around and fight. And we'll send you up there just ahead of the main army so you can see what's going on. So yeah, so you can see here, well, that's a bad example. Rifle muskets, Mississippi rifles, more rifle muskets, a few just muskets actually. Mississippi. For our best equipped army, it's still questionably equipped, but there you go. And then we got just we got some 12-pounders there, and our artillery. Is that just the only battery we've got? It would appear that way. Right, let's crank up the speed. Let's get marching. And in fact, since all I'm going to be doing is trying to find the enemy and then decide my plan of attack, and it's going to take a couple of minutes. Maybe I will just put in a wee cut and come back then. Okay, so we have approached the centre of the map here. Our scout Withers regiment has done some scouting, and we have indeed found the Union position in a quite a handy little defensive position just on this sloping hill down towards a river and a crossing, and they have built themselves some breastworks which to hide behind like cowardly Federals. But yeah, in all seriousness, this is a reasonably strong position that I would have no desire to smack my brand new army against, because these boys are green and this would probably go pretty poorly from me considering I'm also outnumbered. So I will decline to engage them here. There's still plenty of day left, and we're going to come up and try and push across. Probably once we'll get up here and just go across the open ground towards Dr. Noble, and then get in behind them. Now there is a risk if their reinforcements come from the north, we end up a little bit sandwiched. But indications are that's not the case, and we're coming from the side here, so we shall see how it goes. So yeah, so I'm going to move my troops in this way, and we'll try and form an offensive line kind of across the hill here, and then move to engage around the rear of their positions. Okay, quick check back in. We've actually spent most of the day by the time it's taken to swing around and take this position. We have secured Dr. Noble here, and I have just given an issue to move it over to secure left hill as well, or left fork, whatever it's called. One interesting thing of note, my cavalry scouts here, Bragg, actually broke purely by being out on their own. So if you look at the morale side of things, it gives you the current morale, which is capped by either the fact it's first battle or by the overall fighting spirit. So it can only ever go up to 67%. It's currently 26, and you do lose, I think it's minus 10% an hour for being completely cut off, and that was enough purely to break them. So I'm having to babysit here with my division commander Frost just to get them back to a position where they're happy to move, and then once they're back with the rest of the army, they will be okay. But it's getting on slightly late in the day. I'm keen to actually try and take this hill. I'm just going to give it another move order, just so everybody moves, because there's a few people lagging behind. And we'll march order. All this kind of marching and banging into people does make the units disrupted, which is cohesion. Make sure your volley's less effective. Also can hurt your... I actually don't know if it does hurt your morale. Yeah, it does hurt your morale as well. That does have an impact. So, and everyone's got this first battle modifier, which does hurt them a little bit. And now these guys are complaining because their commander's way over here, but hopefully they should all move. Yeah. And you guys should move together, which should keep them hunky-dory. And you all hear us having a tough time in these woods. Get back on the open ground, man. But we're going to hit end of the day pretty soon. I think probably before any combat. We will secure the left fork. So in the morning, we'll start in a reasonable position of strength up on this hill. And maybe might even make the Federals come to us because we will have a ticking advantage. Oh, and you'll see this will switch from attack the enemy to defend, most likely. They're actually on the move already, so I have to watch where they're going. Going at 20 speed, always a little bit dangerous for tactical decisions. What's happened to you? Left fork is taken, perfect. And we'll have to maybe spin some of our divisions a little bit. Although it doesn't really matter. Once you get to nighttime, you can change where everyone is facing. You're with Price. Okay. So we got Price's divisions to face down this way for just now. Just to kind of turn our flank left, because I think we're going to end up facing our own way. But I would like everyone just to get into position and probably take a little bit of a rest. It looks like they're going to defend 5. I've not seen hide nor hair of their reinforcements, so that looked like maybe them there. Freeman arrives. Yeah, there we go. They have just joined the battle. So we're now kind of stuck between 2 federal forces. So I think what I will do is probably focus on trying to, I would say break these guys, but it's almost 7 o'clock at night. It's going to end, the day is going to end very soon. Where are you going? Surely you're not about to come for a Barney at night. Interesting. No, they're just coming into range. How aggressive do I want to be? Probably not very, to be honest. Pretty late at night. I'm not that interested in marching down the hill and engaging these fine fellows. I'm pretty sure in about 6 minutes or so it's going to be nightfall. Or maybe not. Okay, maybe we are going to have a bit of a night affair. What I would really like to do is you guys kind of hold the defensive line here. Good, and then we grab this division who wants to come in a kind of forward direction over this way to try and interdict these people upon the road and get them to not join up, so we can do a little bit of, ideally a little bit of destruction in detail. At least that's the theory. It will require Price here. I'll maybe need to pull back ever so slightly. That's too far to hold the line at the top of this hill. Okay. We'll see if we actually get into combat today. Beyond being smacked by the Union artillery. I think we will, you know. Yes, please do advance to engage. So there's some horses coming in and get involved in the first bitter batter. Now these gents are not going to last long. Please turn and face the right way. There's a lot of infantry coming, so we have to watch this. But I would dear like to try and crush this force. Oh, that sounded like a good volley. So the first cavalry here, I've taken a respectable number of casualties. Casualties in this game aren't crazy high, which I do quite like. It's also supposed to be fairly realistic. This worries me. This is a lot of Federals approaching upon our position. What I really like is nightfall, so I can put some entrenchments up here while we try and press this attack. Right, so I actually want you to come over this way, fall back if you can. We'll do a little bit of a fighting retreat here. Because once you're engaged, it is surprisingly hard to pull out, as the first cavalry here is finding. And we need to make good use, because those units won't last forever, to hopefully inflict some serious damage over here. Right, let's engage. Have you come round the flank. And you boys are in trouble. What you really need, actually, is to put out some... not you, you should be able to put out some skirmishers. No, okay. Your division's probably too small, actually. Right, hold the line. You guys have spray-field muskets, you guys have spray-field rifle muskets, this is good. Start to see if we can't bring a little bit of pain. Let's bring our cavalry around to their flank as well. See what we can get done. Yeah, so Dr. Jones here is not liking his position already, with the swarms of Union soldiers pouring towards him. Which is understandable. It might see if we can come... No, don't do that way. Can you come around this way, please? And then we'll see if we maybe get some fire on their flank. Meanwhile... Yeah, I really need you to get involved and get in this fight so we can start working the angles a little bit. Likewise, over here. Make sure we take evade off. Evade is off. Good. So this brigade won't last long. I need you to come and get involved. Likewise, let's tempted to give a little bit more support over here, actually. Which is not great, always splitting a division like that. Just come in here and fire, please. I want you gents to hopefully dismount and come in. You need to straighten up this line. If you can, you absolutely need to hurry up. Yeah, please fire. Okay, we're holding, but these guys won't last forever, and so it's how much damage we can inflict. Oh, and the first one's breaking already. That is excellent. It's just a case of how much pain we can inflict upon them. Slash get inflicted upon. Okay. You want to see off those artillery, please? That was unfortunate because that was a rifled musket unit. Okay. Yeah, these guys are getting chewed up. Do you know what? I'm going to have you not reinforce that position because I think that's lost. In fact, let's get you to pull back over this way as well to protect the rear of these forces. Let's have you... yeah, you can engage them. You're seeing off the battery. I need to get these guys to break and run sooner rather than later. Okay. Not sure that was the greatest time for the end of the day. Right, so we need to deploy. Yeah, that's fine. Odd pop-up not working. So they're probably going to deploy fairly in advance over here. But I think what we want to do is focus our efforts on trying to crush these people. At least that's, I think, going to be the general plan. I suspect they're going to be standing right here when we reconvene. Let's get as many guns as we can on that firing line. Let's make sure you're forward with your troops. You here, we'll pull you backwards to go further round. Cannons are okay there, and then it's what we do with Pierce's division. And I think we're going to bravely and boldly run away and try and defend the rear of our position here. And we're going to do it by using some of our engineering points to build probably a couple of breastworks to help out a little bit. Although we have these fine fences as well. Let's build a couple facing the right way, I think. You can also build them during the fight. It takes a little bit of effort and time and tiredness for your men. Or you can use your engineering points in between to build them. Parapets you can also build, but they're only available during. Actually, that took up most of my points. That was a bit unfortunate. You set against that. And Dr. Jones here is going to have to step up against that. Okay. This could go a bit Pete Tong. We'll see how it goes. Right, quick pause. What's going on? They are not where I thought they might be, which is good, which should hopefully allow us to concentrate on these forces. Guys, with the musket, that's not great. You're in a bit of an awkward situation. You can extract yourself, which you are trying to do, so that's okay. Not loving life about it though, because you're being shot in the rear, which is a little bit frustrating when it's purely just the way the deployment has landed. If you can get up to this fence line, that would be pretty good. Although you're, yeah, no, that's fine. You're shooting those guys, that's okay. Because I want to engage those and then get my cavalry shooting into their flank. Usually a good way of upsetting people. Hopefully if we can break this half of their army, that'll be good. Okay, so they're moving to take the left fork. I'm okay with that. And we're up on the fence line. And have them at a couple of angles. Good. This should actually go pretty well. So if they... Well, until that happens. Now it's just going to be a straight up fight. Yeah, don't do that, it's crazy. You do, however, feel free to not evade and to dismount. And then pour fire into their flank. That would be awesome. This little yellow line means they're being flanked and they do not like it. Okay, this is going well. I need this to go in our favour, which looks like it has done. And then it's just going to be, can we hold back this blue tide? Which is, maybe. Okay, left fork is lost. I don't really care about that. Yeah, don't, I mean, why would you do that? Are we doing over here? Oh, can I get... Please, skirmishers. Yes, these guys will absolutely lose. But it's good to slow down advancing units and buy a little bit of time. Okay. That's just the cannons that have broken. Next, let's focus on this first brigade, I think. Yeah, let's see if we can make them run. Okay, this is going okay. They're still slowly advancing. I'm alright with that. You're standing in a precarious situation. Let's get maybe out of the way of the enemy. How many casualties has first brigade taken? Wow, that's a lot. How are they still standing? Problem is I need them to break, not just take lots of casualties. If I can't crush this little pocket, I ain't gonna win the fight. How are we looking at? Still looking at a minor defeat. Yeah, we have seen slightly higher casualties, and given we start with a smaller force, that's generally less than ideal. Right, you see off that cavalry force. Are you actually still engaging? You've lost 200 men, they've lost 250, but they've also lost 250. So you're doing well in terms of casualties, but you are fighting some pretty healthy odds. Skirmishers are doing well holding them up, but that may not be enough. I can't believe this first wave is just taking this much punishment. These troops are actually lying down. I don't know why they're not shooting back, actually. You need to go there to support them. Now they may have gone into a bit of a defensive posture, which could have its advantages. I'm going to bring my horses over in this direction to help out. I don't think they've needed so much over here. Okay, you guys finally advancing. I mean, surely there's no one left for you to shoot at. Go with the fence. Wow, they've taken like a third casualties. They're just shrugging it off. Oh no, my unit broke. Dagnammit. Alright, let's send you over that way. I think this is going to be a glorious defeat. At least as much as defeats can be. I'm amazed at the resilience these Union troops have shown. Usually a hard sneeze is all it takes to break them. I would like you to kind of come around and extend the line if you can. Oh, we've got horses boarding in our rear. Yeah. And the defeat, there it is. Rosser has fallen, Rosser is whipped. Rosser is losing. Who's Rosser? Oh, the artillery. I cannot believe this brigade didn't break. So these men that are running here have lost. Where are you? 400 men out of 3,000. It's like 10%. This brigade has lost 1,000 men out of 2,000, and they're just like, yeah, come at me, bro. Okay, so we've now got half an hour to sustain this fight before we get to leave. So it's just going to be trying to hold the position for a little bit. And the tides can turn in this. So if you go too aggressive and lose a bunch of units, you can end up losing, even though you've technically already won. Alright, play it last 7 minutes. And we withdraw. So we lost 5,000 men, 5,400 there, 5,000. So fairly even in casualties, although it's going to go down as a defeat. A little bit upsetting, but I mean, we were expecting 20,000 men and we came up against 35. What can you do? Apart from obviously make questionable tactical decisions. Alright, let's jump back to the map. Okay, there we have it. We lost 4,800 men, apparently it's a slightly different number. 600 killed, 100 captured, rest injured. Oh no, it was the enemy, and ours were slightly higher. Yes, we lost 674 killed, 1,500 captured. So yeah, generally not a very good, result. But the worst part actually is we don't get to loot the battlefield and get all their weapons, which would have been nice. So I guess in the hope of maybe getting a victory, let's maybe go and try and kick these guys' butts. However, given that we're almost running an hour, that is going to have to be for next time. What a terrible affair they are there. That's for Army of Shenandoah, Pennsylvania. Where is this other force that we were fighting? I know not. We shall retreat to our own lands. Well, okay, that was the last scouting report. Let's have a quick look at overall strategy. How many men have they raised? Yeah, 120,000. We are slightly up against it. Okay, and then we'll start next time and we'll come back with this fight and see if we can get ourselves a victory. We actually outnumber them once, and I suspect I'm going to have to operate the Army of Shenandoah and the Army of Potomac in one essentially large force to try and offset some of these Union numerical advances. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, hope you're enjoying this. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheerio for now.